All right, so let's try it. So let's all come back in together. There's probably some stuff we could practice. So you can stay right there. You can stay right there with Sheba and you could bring Bogey right here. You can make a little semicircle. All right. Good sit. All right. So how do we practice gentle? If you can get Bogey to still give you attention with your hand closed, that'll probably be a way that you'll feel a little more comfortable with him. And because your hand got to stay still. There we go. Good. Now that, and you saw when he gave up, then I would have slipped out a little bit of it so he could get his attention again and then close it back up and then work on just kind of getting a little bit of treat. So he's a little bit attentive, but he's not biting hard. So you kind of gauging it. All right. And of course, it's a difficult thing to practice in a public space, kind of for the first or second time, right? So everything I'm saying to you, take home in a quiet space and practice it. All right, but I'll show you gentle in any event with Shadow, because sometimes they, of course, it's 5-10 minutes, and mentally they want to do something else. So, all right. So I'm feeling some teeth here with Shadow, and I want Shadow to be a little bit more gentle. So so number one, I want to hide the treat a little bit more. Put my thumb over it because Shadow's not gonna bite my finger. Unless I put the treat out there and then she goes more aggressively at it, you see? All right, so I'm gonna cover that up some more. Now my hand has to be steady so me and my dog could get an equilibrium. And that's what I was getting. And you kind of have to accept a little bit of uncomfortable teeth so your dog realizes, oh, he's not gonna move his finger. So now I'm only gonna lick it. All right, cool. All right, so with that being said, good job. All right, so now let's try it in our right hand. And this may be better for like Mully or dogs that aren't as much, way to go with Sheba. For dogs that aren't as much food motivated in a public space because they're distracted. Yeah. So it's more like, I got this thing when you're ready. I got this thing when you're ready. Shadow, I got it up here. It's kind of using your watch me a little bit differently. There we go. Good job. So let's do it one at a time this time. I'm going to have you go down the soul train. Okay. Right back. Forward.
Mully, forward.
All right. And you're using that right hand to kind of get Mully interested. All right. Okay. And in this case, your left hand could be more relaxed down to your side and a little shorter. There we go. That's it. All right. And if your dog's not paying attention, then you could stop. Like everything in life is you gauge it based on its effectiveness. And the moral of the story is practice at home in a quiet space and build the behavior.
Bogey.
Good. Let's give Bogey a shot. Forward, Bogey.
Bogey. Bogey.
Good job. Go straight up to your eyes. So, there we go. You're working on eye contact, so he's into that treat. You just got to show him where to look to get it. That's it. Good job. Good. And something I should have said that could help. What I tend to do is I lock my hand on my chest area. So once I'm using that right hand, I don't let it drop down to the side while I'm training because I don't want my dog to go from up to just up. So I subconsciously hold my hand here. And I think if you did that, Bogey's super into that. So just kind of slide your forearm to the middle of your chest. There we go.
Bogey.
That's it. And just once you get his attention again, it'll work out. So as I was saying, Shadow. Right. Yes. So just look up at me, Sebas. Right here. Shadow. Yes. All right. So when I get that attention, yes. Go straight back up, and that's what I'm building right there. All right. Shadow. Right here. Yes. Finish. All right. Good job. If your dog's distracted and because we're focusing on treat, so I just have to remind you, you can use your personality, your relationship with your dog. So, before I personally really got into treats, it might have been like 20 years ago. But before that, it was really about your relationship with your dog and building, using like whistles and clicks and, that sort of stuff. So if you add that in and use treats, you're better off. Yes, Shadow. Yes. All right. Right here. Right here, Shadow. Yes. Right here. Good job. All right. So I got Shadow to pay attention for about 5 feet. And that's a lot for a practice session. And that's when you kind of stop, pause, and then give your dog a break and then come back at it. This is a lot. This is like calculus star dogs. They got to think, eat, walk, all of that at the same time. Right? And their whole mindset is, I should be able to see what's around me to know what's happening. But they want me not to and eat. Right? So that's hard. So you're only going to get 5 feet, 10 feet, and then you're going to take a break and go at it again. Right? Awesome. So with that being said, that's a lot of focus heel practice. Any questions so far? How did it go last week? I remember that you guys we were focused, or we were talking about them pulling on your walks.
Yeah.
How did the practicing go with that? Anything click or didn't click or?
No, he still pulls.
He still pulls, but what I mean is, how did what I say and the things I suggested impact, or what did you try? Because he's gonna pull. So if you're expecting, that's very important actually. If you think that it's gonna go from no pulling or pulling to zero pulling, that's maybe a little unrealistic. It's gonna be a gradient of less pulling. And so I'm asking, how is that going?
Not great.
Okay. What did you try?
In the house, he's fine. It's when he's outside, and I guess the smells and the trees and everything. Just
What I'm saying is, remember the stuff we talked about?
Yeah.
How did that go?
it works for a little bit, but then he reverts right back to pulling.
He's gonna revert back to pulling if you stop doing it, because that's the catch. Like if you don't keep it at a certain way, he's gonna go back. Like that's expected if anything. So you have to keep it at a certain length and just keep your hand steady. And if you don't do that, then it's expected that he's gonna go back to what he was doing. So in the beginning, I always say that the trainer does all the work in the beginning, and then later on the dog does the work for you, and you know what I mean. But in the beginning, it's you doing all the work because you're teaching your dog what to do. So let's try it together. Let's get lined up in a ways. That's actually almost pretty lined up. So if you guys can see what we're gonna do here, we're gonna do a regular heel, not so much a focused heel. This is more of a loose leash heel, and this is the one you guys will be doing just kind of every day when you're not trying to get a competition style, totally focused dog, in a serious practice session. All right. So with that said, could you get Sheba in the agreement? Because you're gonna come straight down here. Mully is gonna come in between Sebas and I.
Okay.
All right. But we're gonna do a loose leash heel together. Probably ain't gonna be loose right now for some of the dogs because we have pulling issues. But that's essentially what it is, because they don't have to focus and look at us the whole time. But we don't want their heads pointed to the ground. That makes sense? No sniffing, but you ain't gotta look up at me. All right. So to achieve that, what's the first thing? Who could guess, right? What's the first thing you should probably do to keep your dog's head up? Would make sense.
Leash pressure.
All right. But before you even apply pressure, what about the length of the amount of leash you're giving them? Yeah. Right. And how should your arms be to establish? I want to relax. I'm the trainer. I want to relax. So then you relax. So your left arm is relaxed to your side naturally, where I say God put it. Right. Left side, left arm. In this case, what I want you to do is allow a little bit of that leash to extend. No, you could do what you're doing. You could put the end there, but allow some of it to extend into your left hand. Hold the leash with your left hand. There we go. No, look at me. Look at how I have it. I have the end in my right and my left hand on the leash. That's what I was asking.
Okay.
Good. Excellent. All right. So excellent. Good job. So that's not it. And the way that you have your hand wrapped around, that tells me that you're getting ready for a fight as opposed to for relaxation. All right. So you're just going to put your hand on the leash hold it with confidence and relax your shoulders. Good, good, excellent. Now your dog is saying, why can't I have the freedom to do what I want to do anymore? That's the conversation that we all want to have right now so we could get the pulling to stop. Your dog just relaxed after she realized that, oh, I don't have an extra leash to move around. So I'll just relax to where I can be comfortable. That's the lesson. That's the entire lesson right there. I just got to get you guys to believe it. All right? So with that being said, slide Bogey's collar up behind his ears. You see where Molly's collar is? Good. Let's put Sheba's collar up behind the ears. And Dad, Tony, you have to shorten that leash. You got to slide your left hand down the leash. There we go. And hold it solid. And then relax. There we go. Good. It don't have to be as tight. They're just a little bit out, Tony. Like an inch or two. Bang. All right? Good job. All right? If you could get Molly to sit, then you'd be able to truly relax. Remember, the control walk is the agreement and watch me, but you're moving. Well, in the agreement, you relax. You ain't fighting with your dog when you're in the agreement, right? Good. But your left hand is taut, so you're not relaxed. There we go. Good. Slide it up a little bit more, and then slide your hand down a little bit more. Slide your hand down on the chain. Bang. Good job. All right. Now you see how your hand is to the side? I would prefer if the chain that extends to your arm is, look at me, at the center and as high as you can get it. Higher. And to the center. Good. And then slide your hand down a little bit more so that you can your hand can totally extend. So you don't even have to think about it, guys. This is a gauge. I don't even have to think about it. My dog is in the right position. My hand doesn't have to move. And I can feel like if my dog were to move a millimeter, I could feel it. Now what am I going to do as soon as I start walking? I'll go with shadow so y'all could see it. As I start going with my collar right where it's supposed to be, I'm going to start tapping or popping, whatever you want to call that, backward. Now this is if the treat's not working. You're in public, Bogey's pulling, he could care less about your retreat, and he's super distracted. This is the setup that works, and this is what I was hoping that you would have practiced. Because remember when we were walking out last week and I did this exact same thing? So that's what I was hoping you would have continued. That's why I brought it up. So this is what I really want you to lock in there. This is what stops the pulling. All right? Short leash, tapping. I'm not letting my dog's head go down to begin with, so then there's less confusion. Now I'm tapping and my dog's head up the whole time. This actually makes it easier to begin to work on eye contact if I wanted to, because my dog's head is already up. But if I'm fighting with my dog's head is way down there and I'm trying to get eye contact, that's much more difficult. And it all starts with what? How you set up your leash and where you place your hand and how you relax. See that? All right, now let me try it with Bogey.